Hey friends. So I get a lot of questions about cruising with little kids, with larger families. Not a lot of people we're friends with do it. So we do it a lot, and I wanted to share a few reasons why. So, cruising is a really affordable vacation, first of all. I feel like they make their money off of the casino and the alcohol sales, which we don't do. So, I don't even think that they're really making money off of us. And the reason I say that is because they give you phenomenal meals and they're all included. Your food is all free the whole time you're on there, and you can get room service 24/7. And you've got like a steward coming into your room, like making your bed and cleaning your room, like every time you leave. Like, it's the ultimate pamper time for a mom. It's like the ultimate vacation to me for a mom. And then, there's kids clubs where I've got this free childcare that's included, which is worth a ton. My kids love the kids clubs. For Carnival, it's 2 and up is free. I mean, it's like you can't go in there unless you're 2 or up. And then at nighttime, they do babysitting for all ages, including infants, but it's charged by the hour. We don't do that. We don't even stay up that late. But so 2 and up, Jocelyn turned 2 in December. And so we were like, yeah, we get to like the last cruise she couldn't go to childcare. And they love it. They have so much fun. Some of the ships have a monitor in the hall, like as you're entering the kids area. So if you're apprehensive about leaving your kids places, then you could choose to get a ship that has that feature. I think the first time we cruised with our kids, we were on a ship like that, and it was nice because I had never left my kids anywhere. But I've been really impressed with their kids programs and their employees that work with the kids. I've always had a great experience every cruise. So we can barely get our kids to come out of there. Like, they want to eat dinner with them every night. We're like begging them to come to dinner with us. But I mean, we get a lot of family time on the cruise too. It's not like we don't, but our kids love the kids club, just put it like that. So, but yeah, you get to visit foreign countries without buying plane tickets. And we're within a driving distance of a port. So that's like, I mean, it's a really cheap vacation. It's a really cheap way to bring your kids to new countries. Our kids have been to Belize, the Bahamas, Mexico, Honduras. We've been to Jamaica. Where else have they been? All right, we've been a lot of places. And it's really neat just to get to experience other cultures, It's just neat. And eventually I'd love to fly us all to Europe, but right now that's not really in the budget. So cruising is a better way to explore some other parts of the world for us on a budget. Okay, so the occupancy in most rooms on a cruise ship is 4. So if you're a bigger family, that's a problem. This time we got 2 rooms with an adjoining door, and it was great. So me and my husband, each of us were in a room with 2 kids each in the room. Right. I'm like, how many kids do we have? Having more space was phenomenal. Having 2 bathrooms was phenomenal because the rooms are really small. We do not get balcony rooms. We did it once, and it was so scary with my kids being out there. There's furniture out there that they can climb up on. It's just scary, scary, scary when you have little kids. I hated it. It was like I wanted to relax on vacation, not have indigestion and anxiety the whole time. I like getting ocean view right now just because our kids are little. I love having the window is like important to me. Inside staterooms, that's like a claustrophobic feeling, but having the window, there's like a huge deep window in the rooms usually, and our kids like were sitting up in the window half the time, and they love to look out and see, like, I can see the land when we're coming up to a port and stuff, and the water's just beautiful too. So that's what we did this time. Previous to this trip, we have been booking 2 of our children with my parents. They usually cruise with us, and I need to tell you something really important about that, though. So our kids would still sleep in our room, and they would bring us the right number of life jackets, even though we had like more than we were supposed to. Your steward's not going to report you or anything. You're fine. But we would book 2 kids with our parents because we couldn't book all of them with us. You can't do that. But it's really important, if you do that, you have to get a notarized letter that your child's allowed to travel internationally with that adult. You cannot just show up and get on the boat like that and just like let your kid board with your mom or your dad. Anyways, that's really important. You have to have it notarized. Um, so if you're doing a closed loop cruise and you're leaving from one port in the US and coming back to that same port, you actually don't have to have a passport. It's better if you do, just in case there's a medical emergency or if you accidentally get left and the ship leaves you in a country, which would be really poor planning on your part, but I guess it could happen. It's hard to get back into the US without a passport, but you technically don't have to have one. You can just use a birth certificate and a government issued photo ID like a driver's license. If you're under 16, just a birth certificate. So that's the lowdown on the passport deal. Because I know passports are expensive. Like if you have a really big family and none of you have passports, that's a big vacation expense. But for adults, it's 10 years before they expire, and for kids, it's 5 years. And, you know, that's a decent amount of time. You don't have to pay it again. Okay, so, yeah, the value, I wanted to mention that, like the food. As far as drinks go, they have, like, tea, lemonade, obviously water, hot cocoa, coffee, hot water for tea. Those things are all included. If you want to drink soda, or obviously alcohol costs, but if you want to drink soda, that costs. You can buy, like, a wristband for the week. And then there's some specialty coffee shops. There's like a specialty steakhouse usually on the top of the ship that's like fancy schmancy, and you pay an extra fee, like, I don't know, $15 a person. We did that on our honeymoon because we cruised for our honeymoon, and we were like, we're never doing this again. Like, we both got kind of sick because the food was so rich, and the food they serve in the regular dining room is already fancy. So there were so many courses at that meal, and the boat, like the waves were a little bit rough that night. It's always at the top of the ship, these fancy places, so we could feel the waves. Like, it was so bad. I got really nauseated that night. I'll never forget that. I was like, when is this meal going to be over? Why do they keep bringing more courses? And they're like, compliments of the chef. Here's another dessert. And we're like, oh my gosh. And it's, you know, those fancy meals. There's like courses I didn't even know about. It was like the cheese course, and I don't even know. I'm just not that fancy. It was hilarious, but we never did it again after that. Their regular dining room meals though were like amazing. Anyways, my point was, most things don't cost extra. Like almost everything you can imagine is included in your fare. So, food, passports, what did I not talk about? We went on a Disney cruise as well a few years ago, and if I'm picking one over the other, Disney, duh. Disney does everything better. You know, I mean, I love Disney, which obviously, I just realized I haven't making sure. Disney's great, but there is one thing that is shockingly Carnival does better, and that's food. We did not like Disney's food as much. Carnival has really good food. And if you go, the chocolate melting cake is something you need to get every night for dinner. And you can have as many dinners and desserts as you want, just so you know. If you want 3 desserts, just tell them, and they're like totally happy and cool with that. Carnival's chocolate melting cake is like a revelation. That's all I'm going to say about that. But Disney, despite the food not being quite as good, it was good. And in every other way, they're amazing. They do fireworks at sea. I mean, come on. It was so good. Their shows are incredible. I think they're better than the park shows, like the Disney World park shows, which I thought was impossible. Can you tell I'm a Disney fanatic? But they are. They're so good on the ship. And Carnival shows just aren't even worth going to. A lot of times they're actually kind of raunchy with like the costumes and stuff. You don't really want to bring your kids to it. They're not for kids anyways, but they're not even that good. You know, we enjoy like the PG like comedy club on the Carnival cruise, and you know, there's a lot of things to do on the ship. It's not like we were lacking in things to do, but the shows on Disney are like, you do not miss them. They're very good. Everybody, every age will totally love the shows. So you don't miss those. Of course, you know, you're getting what you pay for. You pay a lot more for a Disney cruise. But the Disney ships are like the only ones that have a tub instead of just showers, which is really helpful when you have really little kids. I mean, you know, it's not worth paying that much extra money for, but just so you know. The kids club ages are different though. On Disney, it's 3 and up are free for like the kids programs. If they're younger than that, on Disney they have childcare. That's you have to pay for it hourly, and it's available all day though. Carnival, it's not available all day. It's only available at night after 10 p.m., which is past everybody's bedtime in my family, so we don't ever use that anyways. But on Carnival, it's 2 and up. So we took a Carnival cruise this year because the babies in our family were 2, and it's, you know, we were able to have free childcare. We could spend, I mean, we didn't spend a ton of time. You know, it's the stars aligning when all 4 of our kids want to be happy and content in the kids club. But it did happen a few times. So we were able to go to the adults only deck and like just lay out and read books and just like talk. It was lots of date time, catching up on date time. So it was really fun. And by the way, you can leave your kids on the ship when you get off at port. If you want to do things like an excursion, just you 2 adults, you can leave your kids checked into the kids club. I don't do that. I have never done it. If I did it, I would do it if I had like a family member that was going to stay on board and I could give them my cell phone, my kids club cell phone, for them to contact them. You know, your regular cell phone doesn't work, which, by the way, that's one of the things I love about cruising. I really like that. We do not buy the internet plans either. You can do the social media plans now for like $25 or something, and we don't do them. Like, that's a great break. I love not having contact with the outside world for a while. Like, I seriously do. I mean, like, it's not like you don't know the news, because they've got all these different like bars and clubs on the ship that like what am I trying to say? Like, there's always a sports bar that has all the sports games. Like, if you're on a cruise during the Olympics like we were, or during the Super Bowl or something, you can watch it. And then there's always like a bar that has like the news playing all day long every day. You know what I mean? And it's not like there's people in there like getting drunk in the middle of the day. If that, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can just go in there and watch. But we don't buy the internet plan, but they do have little cell phones. Actually, Disney gives them to everybody just to keep in contact with their group, and I love that. Carnival doesn't. Carnival just gives it to you if you have a baby that's in the kids club, like a 2-3-year-old. Okay, this is getting really long. What else did I want to say? Excursions. If you book through the ship, first of all, the age requirements don't usually work for you if you have really little kids. They're usually like 5 or 6 and up. And they're just too expensive. I mean, they're like at least $100 or more per person. So if you have a big family, it's just too expensive. A better option, and I know people are really scared to do anything and not go through the ship to do it, but we've done it, and it's like we finally like put our toe in the water, and it's not quite so scary. Just go on TripAdvisor and find out what taxi companies are reputable. Like, you can book to have a car delivered to you, and when you've got a big group and they like paying to have a van delivered to you and splitting the cost, if you're going to go with grandparents and cousins or whatever, or even if it's just you, it's still cheaper having that car delivered to you, and you're driving yourself somewhere, or you're going to use a reputable taxi company to get somewhere yourself. And you want to research everywhere you're going. Obviously, first, you want to do things safely, but it's just too expensive to pay for a big family on the ship excursions that they provide through the ship. It's like you're paying per person for a buffet, and those things are not worth it whenever you've got little bitty kids. Anyways, so the last thing, well, there's 2 little bitty kind of silly tips that I want to share. But if you haven't been on a cruise, your doors are magnetic. So you definitely want to bring magnets and do something to decorate your door so your kids know where their door is when they're running down this incredibly long hallway trying to find their room. The other tip, it's not just for cruising, it's for all of our trips. It's my favorite tip to give people, especially once you have several kids or more. And it's the over-the-door shoe hanging organizers. So I see people use these for their toiletries, for all kinds of stuff. The main thing that I love them for is shoes. Because when you go on a cruise, each person's going to need 3 to 4 pairs of shoes, because you probably you're going to do an excursion where you need good walking shoes. If you're going to go see some Mayan ruins, you're going to need some nicer shoes for formal night. There's one formal night. I'm trying to think. On like a 5-day cruise, there's like one formal night. I want to say there's 2 formal nights on a 7-day cruise. It just depends on your cruise line. It's a good excuse to get dressed up. Some people don't go because they just don't want to get dressed up. Like, they don't go to the dining room for dinner. You can eat a lot of places for dinner, but we don't ever miss the dining room because it's really good food. It's like the best on the ship. And it's a fun excuse to get dressed up. So you're going to need shoes for that. You're going to need shoes for the beach. You're going to need shoes for your regular dining, like dinner nights, because you can't wear shorts and flip-flops to dinner any night. And that adds up. That's like 24 pairs of shoes for a family of 6. So I put all of our little kids' shoes in the hanging organizer, roll it up, put it in a duffel bag. When we get to our hotel or our ship cabin, wherever we're on vacation, I just unroll it and hang it on the door. It's the best thing ever because the kids have a place to put their shoes when they take them off, and it's not a pile of shoes all the time. It's so annoying. I heard a rumor that Disney Cruise Line is not letting people use those anymore. I don't know if that's true, but that's very sad if that's true. I can understand. Maybe they're damaging their doors. But no matter where you're going, if you're not doing that already for shoes, start. Okay, I think that's all I wanted to share. I feel like I'm missing something. But just message me if you have any other questions, if you're thinking about going on a cruise. And if your question is it fun? Like with little kids, it definitely is. It for sure is. It's worth it, and it's very relaxing. It's like you don't need like a vacation from your vacation when you take a cruise. Yeah. Kids who aren't potty trained are not allowed in the pools, like ever. Disney has a really cool splash pad for them. They don't on Carnival, but they let them run around the edges of the pool where it's like, it's hard to explain. It's like 1 inch of water, and then there's like freshwater shower areas. The kids love to play in those around the pool. Like, so there's stuff. You don't need to bring like floaties and stuff for your kids though, because they have the life jackets on the ships. Only if you're going to the beach, then you'll need your own floaties. So things just keep coming to me.